this without touching your screen.
Oh my gosh.
YouTube's up.
So many contraptions. We got YouTube rolling over here. We got Instagram going. Oh, Kate's working on her feed.
Mine is struggling.
Yours is struggling. We got mine, TurningLeaf. Well, welcome everybody to Monday Night Live, as Kate would say.
The best night of the week.
The best night of the week.
Really one of the only great things about a Monday. We were just talking about that. Like, why don't we turn Monday Night Live to Wednesday?
She is over Monday. Kate is over Monday. Let me just put it to you plainly. She's done with Monday. So,
just generally in life, can I get an amen? I know there's lots of you out there.
There's a lot. We're going to see a lot of amens pop up here in a few minutes. Well, we are excited. Monday Night Live, as we come to you live again, as always, we're coming to you on multiple platforms, so everybody has a different view.
Little different angles on everything tonight.
It's quite interesting as we try to adjust everything. So let us know if it's coming in. Let us know if we need to make adjustments, and we'll go from there.
So, Dean, let's start off. First of all, we're like, what should we have? What should we talk about tonight, right? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's got to be fun. We got to talk about something fun.
She is over Monday. And I don't blame you, Kate. Sometimes Mondays are hard. Oh,
and so we started just kind of spitballing back and forth about what's something that we as a society are struggling with. And I would use the word still, because I think that this particular thing that we're talking about tonight, we've been wrestling with for the whole summer, the end of spring, and now we're getting into fall, right?
Yep.
Which is still like feeling super disconnected and isolated, and still as everything's going on socially and all of this stuff. So what we want to bring the topic to you guys tonight is how to gather, what to do, how to bond and experience humanity and humans, and your humans specifically, more often.
Right. And it really is based upon, what's kind of been showing up lately. We like to base our topics off of a lot of what we're seeing come across, our office, and what people are really wrestling with. And that's what's really been impacting a lot lately is the isolation and the isolatory nature of where we are. We've got a pandemic going on across America, across the world, globally. Obviously, it's a pandemic. I apologize for misquoting it as across America, but you know what I mean. But we've got this.
You're forgiven.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have this inability to really communicate, this inability to connect with people. And what we're seeing on the rise is we're seeing a lot of isolation, symptomatic issues. So we're seeing a lot of depression. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a lot of miscommunication. We're seeing a lot of people feeling left out, left alone. We're seeing a lot of, unfortunately, increase in suicide rates. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a lot of drug use on the rise. We're seeing a lot of pornography on the rise. We're seeing a lot of things that are starting to happen and starting to kind of come up, a lot of gaming addictions increasing. And so a lot of these things that we're dealing with on a regular basis are things that we're seeing simply because we are becoming more and more isolated. Now, this was an issue before all of this happened in February and March.
Right. It's something that we as humans have struggled with, and it tends to be a really negative coping skill,
right,
too. But this is something that has basically been constructed upon us because of what's going on.
Because of what's happening.
And I love that you listed all those things. Like, I'm just thinking it's just the isolation fallout is what we're dealing with, right? It's that like the bomb has gone off and we've got like the atomic particles that are still settling throughout the air that we still are having a really hard time navigating. Yeah.
A lot of families are feeling isolated. We see a lot where, people aren't leaving the home because they're afraid of contagions. They're afraid of getting other people sick or getting sick themselves. And it is really impacting a lot of the emotionality or the emotional morale of all of us globally.
Right. Over here on Instagram, we have one that from Life Coach For Real. What's up, fellow life coach? Thanks for joining us tonight. She says, I agree. It's the isolation and unable to connect with people. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, girl. Totally.
And so we're seeing a lot of people trying to figure out how to navigate through this. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that we wanted to really talk on and touch on tonight is really how to connect.
Yeah.
And there's a couple things that we've got to first figure out how to do. And one of them is to use the platforms that we're on right now.
Yes, absolutely. I've loved seeing that emerge, right? Like especially in the very beginning when it was like, holy moly, we don't really know what's going on. And the restaurants all shut down, like everything was shutting down. It was so incredible to see how people got creative to still be able to do business. I think a lot too. Like
right.
that was a big thing. Like, how can we still keep this ball rolling forward? But then also how to connect, right? So I know Zoom has like really skyrocketed in their usership.
Yeah, they've increased their platform.
Yes.
They've made it more user friendly.
Yes. Thank you, whoever's in charge of that at Zoom, by the way. And, stuff like Marco Polo, like all the different apps out there that help us connect, just being able to actually physically see people instead of just only maybe over the phone, which is also still a great way to connect and get your needs met. But there's something about that visual connection.
Yeah, the visual connection is really going to be important. We as human beings, we really key a lot off of body language. So it's between 93 to 98%, depending upon how expressive you are as a person and which statistic you like to lean into. That's why I use both. And
here we are like being so expressive.
I'm a big expressive person. The other day I had my hands down and my eyebrows were going because I wasn't using my hands in a conversation I was having. So
I love it.
We are expressive people. And so we read body language. So using the video, using the web, using any of the video chats, the video calls that we can use. You've got Google Hangouts, you've got FaceTime, you've got Skype, you've got all these different platforms that we can use. And we need to lean into these. There's a lot of individuals in your lives that are isolated behind closed doors. I think about my father, my who is 95, and they've got him in a care center and they are guarding him.
Yes.
And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the caregivers that are taking good care of him, but it's hard not to be able to see him and not be able to put your arms around him.
It's hard on him.
Very hard on him.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the point is these individuals, as hard as it is on us, it's much greater and much more difficult. So reaching out and using video chat, using these platforms to express who you are. Now, keep in mind, however, even though we're on platforms like Instagram and Facebook right now and YouTube, please keep in mind that it's not always what you see is real. If we're going through people's feeds and we're going through our feed and we're seeing all these people's lives, it's very easy, the more isolated you become, to assume that everybody else's life is better than yours. And that's why it's better for you to reach out and actually communicate and actually touch base with people to get a sense of perspective and a sense of reality.
Absolutely. So in that attempt to really connect, make sure, I love that you brought that up, Dean, that you're really running everything through what is, we like to call it the reality filter, right? Like we go into this in our podcast a lot. And the way that we can just really not see what's actually real. So shameless plug, check out our podcast.
Yes, tune into our podcast. You can find those on our YouTube channels, etc.
I think another part when we're talking about this, using the tools that we have at our fingertips to be able to connect with your loved ones, with your community and everything like that. It's super important. I think oftentimes the further in isolation we get, the more we think people don't want to talk to me.
Right.
Like, oh, they don't want to hear from me. They're probably too busy. And then we can really start to make a checklist of all the reasons why we shouldn't reach out. Right. And so really, I would just encourage you to lean into that discomfort and just like, if you're feeling like, hey, we can role play. Geez, I would really like to call Dean. I haven't seen him in like 3 months. I wonder how he's doing, right? Instead of just like talking yourself out of it, like really just take that healthy risk and make the effort and do it. And you guys know, I mean, this is not like, we're not telling you anything new, right? Even if it's just like shout it out through a text, like, hey, I would really like to get some like one-on-one time with you. When would you be available for a FaceTime chat or something like that? Like I really just miss seeing you.
And it's important too, that as you reach out to individuals, keep in mind that because, and this, we live in this immediate reaction response world. This is one that we're seeing a lot happening with individuals that are struggling with feeling alone or isolated, is because people don't respond immediately. We assume that they don't want to connect with us or be connected to us. where the reality is maybe they don't have access. For example, I had an individual reach out to me via Skype today, and I don't check my Skype messenger, but maybe once a week. And so when I get up, pull it up, oh my gosh, it's been like 4 days since that person messaged me. So be aware that it's also one of those pieces that the people will get to you and do want to get with you, but because we're used to this immediate contact world,
right,
that if people don't respond immediately, we immediately think the worst.
Right, exactly.
And we don't give people and ourselves the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. We uber personalize it, and we feel like, oh, they must not like me or love me anymore. Right. Which then another coping skill that we talk about a lot is evidence.
Yes.
At that point, you can really start to like look over your evidence log about your relationship and see how true or false that statement really is.
And be careful which evidence you lean into.
True.
Because it's simple. I'll get people in here and I'll be talking to them about going through the evidence of what is a reality. And they have this big a pile of evidence of why they're not loved or cared about as they do why they are loved and cared about. So a lot of times we do tend to lean into, and that's why we do need to use that coping skill. I'm glad that you brought that up. We had another comment down there. I can't read it. My eyes are too.
Oh, well, it's just Life Coach for Real is just being sweet. She's like, you guys are awesome. I'm a fan. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. You're so welcome.
Thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you. So this is something we need to do, is to reach out. Here's the other thing that I wanted to make sure that we touched on as I'm watching our time. We need to find ways to engage people. And that's the other thing that we need to be doing, is not just reaching out. We need to find things that engage people. We need to create conversations. We need to create dialogues. We need to find ways to interact. And that's where I do love some of the things on social media where you can play games with people. I see where before gaming was always kind of one of those things where people would get online and they game with multiple people. Before we'd kind of discourage it a little bit because of the, isolatory nature that it is. But now actually it's working in that favor.
It's one of the most social isolatory experiences that you can have.
So, getting on and interacting and even doing fun videos back and forth. You talked about Marco Polo. Yes. Some of the things that you can do, and I've seen families do that have been really fun games, is there's different things you can do. You can send a picture and then have everybody in a group create a meme to the picture.
Oh, that's cute.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's way fun.
And so everybody's interacting and they're sending back a meme for the picture to connect it. Or on an app like Marco Polo, you can send out a Marco Polo challenge. And you can say, okay, here's the topic, go create a Marco video for it in a group chat as well. So there are a lot of things that we can do to engage and to pull people in and to socialize. Even though we're at a distance, we can still engage people in a fun way. Yeah,
and if you take either of these ideas that Dean just threw out to you, and if you are the next meme sensation, then we get a cut, like 10% of whatever millions you just made off of your Marco Polo meme.
Yes, please.
I think that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun to do, and we've done it. I've done it with our family a couple times, and it is so funny. It'll take a picture of a back of a car with a weird bumper sticker and then say meme it, and everybody in the group just has so much fun with it. Just any funny little videos or pictures, etc. So I know there's a lot of these things that are out there that we can interact with other people in. Now, there are apps out there like Instagram, TikTok, etc., but you're not really interacting with a group of people or a person. That's where I'm challenging you to do it more with the personal apps. These apps that you can communicate, like Marco Polo or, a group chat or group text. GroupMe is another one that you can use in a lot of different ways. So using those that are more personal, that's one thing I do want to qualify it that way.
Yeah. And I think another thing that I'm just going to throw this out here and say it, people, let's start getting out. Like, if you feel like you need to wear your mask, and whatever city, county regulations you guys still have going on, we are really blessed here in Southern Utah.
Yes.
You're so blessed with the minimal impact that we've had and being able to really still navigate our community. People are still wearing masks and all that kind of jazz, which I think is great, but gather.
Yeah.
It is okay to begin to gather, and however you feel, most safe to do that, it's probably time to start leaning into that discomfort.
And we can still social distance
Absolutely.
in a gathering setting.
I went to a wedding last weekend.
Awesome.
Where still having a great time together and keeping everything just nice and healthy, right?
I was there too.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
It was
amazing
an amazing
event.
wedding.
So there's a lot of fun examples of things that we can do. We can gather. If you're limited in certain states, so I know we're getting in like Illinois and some of these others, New York.
Well, and they've talked about things starting to ramp. I'm so sorry to cut you off, even though I do it all the time. There's like that. I think there's that fear and that worry as they talk about, oh, we are getting into cold and flu season. Like this is, and so we're starting to feel that anxiety buzz start to just rise up again a little bit, right? And so of course, be safe. But, lean into that discomfort a little bit.
Lean into it. Trust some of those areas. If you are in an area like we are, where we have a low population density, and gathering is something that you can do and still keep a 6-foot distance, and gather in small groups, and you can have family gatherings. Hiking, that's another great thing that's great out here in some of the other remote areas that you're watching us from. Arizona, Idaho, some of that west, and even some back east and down south. There's some areas that are remote enough, even up north, North Dakota, etc. There's a lot of areas that you can go hiking with groups of people and still maintain a distance and still be able to socialize and still be able to connect. So it is going to be important that we're doing those types of things.
Yeah, and I'm a shout out to my girl Laura DeLong over here on the Facebook page. She said DJ Katie Cat is in the house.
DJ Katie
girl,
Cat.
Yes. Also, this just came in. If you're one of the people who are like, dang, I need to start reaching out to my people more, but you haven't really made the initiative and the effort yourself, this live is for you.
Yes.
Okay. So we can wait all day, all week, all month for the rest of the year to get an invitation and for someone else to reach out to me.
Yep.
But really taking the initiative to get something going, even if it is just some fun Marco Polo meme game, right? Like take the initiative, be the change creator in your social circle, right? Like in your family circle, in your extended family, like be the change agent that starts to weave and web people back together during this super isolatory state.
Yep. And there are people that may not want to engage.
Yeah.
And that's the last piece in this is don't take things personal that aren't personal. So if people are not engaging, if there are people that are pushing back and going, hey, I don't want to engage in that, or I don't want to get into the group chat, or I don't want to do these things.
They leave your group chats like so-and-so just left the conversation.
Then let them go. It's okay. You don't have to personalize that. But what you do want to start finding is you want to start finding your community. You want to start finding those people that you can gather with and you can start to engage with. And it is time to get out of our comfort zone and start to reach out. People, this is a plea. This is something that we're seeing, and it's really troubling me as I see the increase in suicides, as I'm seeing the increase in depression and isolation. It's starting to become concerning to me, and that's why we want to talk about it. So if you're here and you're watching, then please answer the call for help and reach out and engage. I love what Kate was saying. Be the change. Start to reach out to people. Find ways to interact. Find ways to socialize. Find ways to bring people together. There are things that we can do. If you like to bake, it's as simple as baking something and delivering it to somebody's house. And again, some people might not like that because of the because of the COVID. But there are those that are going to be open to that. And there are people that need interactions. There are people that need kindness. And that's, important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One more really completely shameless plug. Tiana said, your seminar really changed my life. And we do have a number of seminars coming up on the horizon throughout the rest of the year. Wherever you're at on your seminar journey, if you've only done, the Awakening seminar and still need to get into that next level of the discernment seminar, we have a 2, a 3, and a 4 all scheduled for the rest of the year. So you can always call us to be able to connect that way. And
a level and the awakening seminar in January.
In January, correct. Yep. So we've got a lot of those opportunities, and who knows? Maybe a workshop here or there. You just never know what we're going to come up with. We got lots
of workshops at the first of the year.
Never know what's going to come up. So, but we love you guys. Once again, take the challenge, get a little bit uncomfortable, and start to regather that social strength for yourself. I just
absolutely
can't think of anything more important that we need to start working back towards than that right now.
Communicating.
Absolutely.
And people, please use compassion right now.
Yes.
The world needs so much compassion from us. The world needs so much understanding from us with all of the upheaval and all of the angst and all of the difference of opinions. Now is the time, more than ever, that we need to start showing compassion towards self.
Yes.
And then once we feel that compassion towards self, we need to start to reflect that compassion externally. And we've got to start giving love, and we've got to start loving people, and we've got to start giving to people of our whatever we have. If it's just a hello, that's great. If it's a baked good, that's great. I think even Laura said, bring me some baked goods.
Laura will take some cookies.
If it's time and it's a listening ear, or even just playing a game and interacting, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time.
And as always, we love you. Take this message to your dinner table, your water cooler, your next Zoom call,
yes.
whatever it may be. And we wish you guys a wonderful week. We'll see you next Monday on
Monday Night Live.
Bye. Now we get to turn it all off.
Now we got to figure out how to shut them all down. Got that one.